One more time. Where are my glasses? Just give me a minute. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Yeah, you're right. You know, one of my followers on Instagram recently told me that I keep saying another instead of another. Yeah, you're right. I'm so sorry. So let me just correct myself one more time. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of English with Sarvi. Yeah, it was so hard to pronounce, but yeah, let's just be done with it. I need to practice a lot. Yeah, I'm used to saying it like that, but yeah, I can fix it. So today we're going to have another... Okay, this is going to be a problem. Yeah, today we're going to have another class observation lesson. And this one is actually a tough one, for me at least. I don't know about you, because it's all going to be a writing lesson. Well, let's say that from time to time I'm going to take a look at my laptop here because I want to go step by step. Well, we are going to work on page 121 of a Speak Out book series, the intermediate book. I also have the lesson shapes that are provided in the CELTA course on the other side of my page, my screen on my laptop, because we also want to take a look at the lesson shape F, which is actually for productive skills, speaking or writing. I'm going to take a photo of it and put it for you here so that we can step by step take a look at the lesson shape and the book and move forward based on what I did. Well, just like any other lesson, if you take a look at this page, you will see that the lead-in is somehow missing. I mean, in some other ones, in some other lessons, either writing lesson or reading lesson or whatever, we actually have the lead-in in the book provided for us. Some form of lead-in, and we don't have to find something ourselves. But for this particular lesson, what I did here was to ask her to tell me what exactly matters for her when she reads a restaurant review. And well, from her facial expression and also her background, I knew that she must know the meaning of the restaurant review. But if she didn't, that would be the part that I would actually give the meaning to her. So be careful with these things. I mean, it can become a blocking vocabulary item for your student when I am going back to my CELTA course, because this particular lesson is the one that I actually taught it to a group of intermediate students in the CELTA course. This was actually one of my demos, one of my teaching practices, let's say. So with that special group, I had to actually give them some information first, and some of them had no idea what the word restaurant review was. I still think that some of them were really weak intermediate students, and some other ones were really strong, which made it really complicated teaching them. So yeah, I did that. I asked Sahar to give me some information. It became like a form of brainstorming, a kind of mind map. I started drawing for myself. I really like designing sometimes an empty, almost empty slide for my students in the lead-in part to get some info from them and just write it while they are talking about the subject. And this is another reason why I like Adobe Connect. You know, it is so user-friendly when it comes to drawing and writing something, especially when you need to, you know, move to another slide. I mean, on Zoom, it's not that easy. You have to clean your page, or maybe I don't know how it's done. But as far as I'm concerned, you need to clean the page and then move to your next slide. But on Adobe Connect, you can actually write and draw something on one slide and then move to the next slide. And the previous slide still has got your data on it. I mean, if you want to just go back and forth from one slide to another, it's really good. So let's go back to our topic. I had my lead in, and based on what we have here next, then we need to prepare our students for the writing task. Sometimes this transition is so mechanical for us, but in order for me to make it somehow smoother, because it feels right, I told her, I don't remember if I did tell her or not, but right now that I'm thinking, it's such a good idea to then check out those things that she mentioned in the next exercise, which is our exercise 8A. Some of those things that are actually included in a restaurant review are there for the students to take a look at. And in a match heading exercise, they actually understand what are the important factors, the important things we need to mention in a restaurant review. So either I did it or not, I think it's a very good idea, and it makes this transition easier and more smoother for your students. Not more smoother, but smoother. Yeah, this will make this transition smoother for your students to just check the ideas first. So take a look and read those questions one more time, like where is the restaurant? How can we contact them? And then they can just match the headings with the numbers 1 to 5, and we move on to the reading. With the reading, let's say that the book has started with something which for that group of students that I had in the CELTA course was too much. It is asking the students to read the whole thing and then give their own opinion based on it. So I try to make it a little bit easier for them by giving them like a task in which they have to find certain groups of people that would prefer to go to each of these restaurants. And actually those certain groups are mentioned in each paragraph. So they just had to, read each paragraph and find the group and the name of the restaurant and then give it to me. But I think for Sahar it was not necessary. Sahar didn't really need it. Sahar is a stronger student, so I had to anticipate this. This would have become really boring for her, and instead of it, I could have given her exercise C, which I didn't, because I was thinking about time management. But time management shouldn't make you, delete really good, sufficient, practical tasks from your lesson plan and include another task which takes less time but is sort of meaningless and useless for that particular group or that student. So this was the thing that I had to balance, thinking about that group and Sahar, which I really didn't. Then the next step is to move into the useful language. The useful language is for writing, usually it is a sample of reading, because students need to actually be able to go back to it at the end of the page. Usually that's what they do in order to write their own model, their own writing. And as it is mentioned in the lesson shapes, we can see that it is not the target language. So, the exact sentence is like, this is not target language. It's there to help them perform the writing task. That's all. And students don't have to use it. But let's say that maybe, now that I'm thinking, I actually had to consider this in my lesson plan, that if you want to teach so, such, although and while, like a real grammar. I mean, if you look at it like the target language of the day and you want to work on meaning, pronunciation and form, Sarvi, you would lose a lot of time. So what I anticipated here was to go with discovery learning. Just like the book. I mean, even the book is looking at it like a discovery learning lesson, looking at these questions like which linking words do we use to connect ideas, which contrast with each other, which do we use to talk about the consequences of a situation, and which do we use to suggest the condition. I mean, looking at all of them, we can see that even the book is trying to look at it like a discovery learning lesson. But because of exercise C, that students need to be able to actually use these linking words, I thought I cannot forget about the form. So, I mean, so let's say that we need to give them another task that works on the form. Exactly what do students expect to see after so? What should we expect to see after such? About the punctuation, they need some information that they need to get out of this lesson. So as you can see, it is not possible to just look at it as just exposure. It's not possible. I mean, you tell me if you think that it is not right, because whatever I do, however I look at it, from any aspect that I look at it, it doesn't make sense to look at this lesson. I mean, although, so, such, and while, it's not possible for me to look at them as just exposure, just the useful language that my students can or maybe they just don't use it in the production. Because even in the production stage, which is our exercise 10, students are asked to use the linking words in exercise 9b to connect their ideas. So if you ask me, I have to look at these both words, these linking words, as the target language. Now that I am looking at that part of the video that I've recorded, I understand why at the end of my CELTA course I was so ashamed of myself. I was full of ambiguity. Everything was vague for me. And I was more confused than happy to have finished the course, which is not necessarily wrong or bad. Let's say that if we don't have those questions, and if everything is right, then I guess that's the time that we should doubt. We should have doubts about ourselves, about our knowledge. So let's say that the target language cannot be grammar here. The target language is definitely for my students to be able to write a restaurant review by the end of this lesson. So let's say that yes, I will try to teach unless, although, while, so and such to my students using their background knowledge and the discovery learning in order to manage my time and to have proper time management. Because if you actually want to teach a full grammar lesson in between, you will not be able to finish this lesson on time. And that, I guess, could have been the reason that I failed in my CELTA course. I didn't fail, but I didn't actually have a perfectly staged lesson. Writing lesson. It could have been because of my students, some of them very strong and some of them really weak. But even in the design of the lesson, when I was executing my plans, I was so strict about all of them learning exactly how to use unless in a sentence. Or if one of them couldn't answer questions 1 to 5 in exercise C, I made a big deal out of it. But let's say that all of us, we should think about our target language here. Target language matters. They need to be able to write a restaurant review at the end of this lesson. So even if they choose not to use unless or although by the end of this lesson, English is always a spiral. So in the next book or the next lessons, the next units, they are going to have although, while, so, and such again. It's okay if they don't learn it this time. And I think a lot of us make this mistake of trying to teach everything like all the time, not letting go. Yeah, at least now the next stage that we have here is the writing task itself. So they have the useful language, and I actually put it into different steps for Sahar, and then I moved into the last part, which was our writing task. I didn't ask her to write a full writing task, but I asked her to write a draft of her favorite restaurant and why people might want to visit that place in a form of a review, but maybe just a very short blog, not like what she had here. The real thing was for her to be done at home. I mean, she could take her time and use the linking words, think about which one she wants to use and do it as her homework. But we did the first draft in the classroom. Now here comes the next thing. Well, something happened. If you have watched this full lesson by now, you know that something happened when I was working on the word unless, which could happen because I was really, really tired, or simply I guess I must have been tired because I have taught this lesson six or seven times before. And I dare say, whenever I teach a lesson like twice, the third time will become a blast. So it must have been the fact that I'd had already like 7 or 8 lessons that day. I was so tired. This was my last lesson. But any kind of justification that I try to find doesn't really justify the fact that I gave Sahar double negatives for unless, which is like an obvious mistake. And actually, I accepted my mistake in the middle of the lesson. But let's say that it happens to anyone. I mean, maybe some of you might have just forgotten about, putting this on your media, like a mistake like this. I mean, sometimes, yeah, some mistakes are fine. We just share them so that other people would not, make the same mistake. Because we care about our audience. But here, let's say that this was a really obvious and disastrous mistake of mine. But what I decided to do and what I thought with myself was that this was a perfectly designed writing lesson. We had discovery learning inside. We were looking at the lesson shapes together. We were looking at the steps of a writing lesson. So I thought, so what? I made a mistake. It happens to the best of us, right? I am not trying to tell you that mistakes like this are allowed in our language lesson. I'm not trying to make it look good. I'm not trying to look like a hero for broadcasting a mistake. No, something which is wrong, especially in language teaching and language learning. But it happens. We have to find a way to get over it. Well, with Sahar, she's also a teacher, a German teacher. I'm sure that she understands the whole thing. But what I find really useful is that when I find it necessary, I sit and I talk about it with my students. Well, in that lesson, I actually accepted that I made a mistake and I told her, oh, Sahar, you're right, I made a mistake, and then I continued. Sometimes that's all you need to do. I made a mistake, dear, now let's move on. I know that mentally it takes a lot of effort to get over it because we're teachers and we're supposed to be perfect, but that's it. It happened and we needed to continue because I had to teach Sahar the target language of the day, which was to write a restaurant review. Yeah, that's it. And I did. Well, the next step in the lesson shape F, is to give feedback to our students for the reading task, as I can see it right here. After Sahar wrote her first draft, yeah, I was sort of, let's say, mentally I was not all right. I was still in shock of the mistake I'd made, but let's say that I had no choice. So I just tried to get myself together and remember that, okay, now I need to give feedback. So yeah, this is another tricky part when we make a mistake in our classroom. If you just give in, then you just make a bigger mess out of what has already happened. So try to just get it together and just move on from the mistake and get back on the track. And this was what I tried to do afterwards. I don't know how well I did it. I should ask Sahar, but I did it anyways. So yeah, I tried to give her feedback at the end, and that's it. That's the whole lesson. Well, this time I guess I changed the way the video is working. So right now I'm going to put the whole lesson for you to watch because actually I wanted to analyze a writing lesson from the beginning to the end. I had a couple of questions about the steps, how we teach a writing lesson. So that's why that this time our observation lessons format is a little bit changed. So right now, let's go and watch the whole lesson. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel before you go. Don't forget to like the video and support me because it gives me a lot of energy to record more videos. Now, we can repeat if you want.
No, it's okay.
So let's go. Let's see. Today we're talking about slide 20. So, I think you like eating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me, what do you usually look for in a restaurant review? I mean, do you read restaurant reviews?
Sometimes, not always.
Not always. So, I mean, when you go to
Yes.
a new country or a new city, how do you usually understand if, okay, this restaurant is good, I want to go to this restaurant?
Um, for example, when I heard something about that restaurant, I go there without reading any review. But sometimes, yes, but sometimes when I'm searching for restaurants and I don't know any information about them, I try to uh, read review in Google.
So, what do you usually find out when you read the review, the restaurant review?
Um, I usually find my special food, for example, my favorite food in that restaurant, and I read the review for that food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we say quality of food matters to you?
Yes, quality and um, quality of atmosphere. I don't know what they say
Atmosphere, yeah, the
about
atmosphere is actually very important.
about cleaning and something like that.
So we can say hygiene is also very important for
Uh-huh.
you. The
Yeah.
hygiene, the atmosphere, quality of food. Anything else?
Mm,
Do you know where
and
the restaurant?
sometimes about price.
The most important one.
But for some restaurants, for example, Nosrat,
Yeah.
I know it's too expensive,
It is.
and but I like one time um, test this food, this restaurant. For
I
one
actually
time it's
remember
okay.
last time we flipped the coin whether we should go or not. And then for me, it was like heads. And yeah, it
Yeah.
didn't happen. We didn't go actually because it was too
But
expensive.
but the food was very good. I tried it. I think 3 years, before pandemic, 4 years ago.
That's great.
I
That's
think,
great.
and
Oh
it
my
was
God.
very good.
We are in the pandemic for 4 years?
No, 2 years before 2 years before pandemic.
Okay, great. So let's come back to the topic. Quality of food, atmosphere, hygiene, prices, anything else?
No, the other things is nothing very important.
Okay, let's move on then. Now, speaking of other stuff, there are some other stuff that we can actually find in a restaurant review too. Let's look at parts A to E and the questions on the right and match them together to understand what other items exactly we have.
Information about the price, information about the menu, details of the restaurant, information about the service, information about the atmosphere. And I should put A to E to
Exactly.
1 to 5.
You want to match them.
Yeah. Where is it? How can you contact them? How do you get there? What are the opening hours? Price, menu, detail. I think detail match to number
Detail.
and
Is it
details
A?
of the restaurant. Yeah, C.
Okay. Thank you.
And what's the decor like? Is it child friendly? Is it noisy? Is it romantic?
I think you said it actually. This one was important for you. You mentioned it.
But not for child friendly, noisy, and romantic.
No, but I guess you.
Atmosphere, I mean, for example, in Iran, some restaurants have a limit time. For example, you should you can sit on your table for 45 minutes or 1 hour. I think
Yeah. You don't
atmosphere
like.
is very, stressful. Stressful.
But that is not about the atmosphere. The atmosphere is actually like the decor, the feeling that, okay, if I have a kid and I go to this restaurant, my kid will be well taken care of. Like, this is the atmosphere. You're talking about the rules, I guess, the rules and regulations.
No. For example, when you should finish your uh, food in 45 minutes, and you heard a very noise of spoon and fork and something like that.
I know. You don't like busy restaurants.
Yes,
You
heard
like it
this.
cozy and quiet.
Yeah.
And I guess you are into classic restaurants, like older ones, aren't you?
Classic, maybe.
I have a good suggestion for you. I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but I will take a look at the photos. I remember I went to one place with my brother that I really enjoyed. I will tell you the name after the class. Just remind me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so
you so
number
much.
2 is?
Number 2.
You said it.
Information about the atmosphere.
Very good. E. And number 3?
What kind of food does it serve? Are there any specialties? Do they serve vegetarian food? It's about menu. Information about menu.
Good. What about 4?
Are the staff friendly? Do you have a wait a long time? D. Information about the service.
And number 5? For sure.
Is it good value for money? How much does it cost per person? Are there any special offers?
Good. Let's go with all of them are correct. Now tell me which one is more important for you, Sahar, when you are checking a review.
I think the number 3.
What kind of food does it serve? Specialties. The menu, right? The menu is important for you. It's actually a very important
3
thing.
and 2.
Like if you're
3 and 2. It depends on.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Atmosphere.
It depends
All
on
right,
type
great.
of restaurant.
Now, based on these things we talked about, let's take a look at some reviews together. Well, how many restaurants do we have here? Okay, take a look at
3.
the names and the actually location. Yeah,
That's
in
by
Hoxton
Burrito.
Square, and then
Hoxton
I don't know
Square.
exactly where it is.
Hoxton Square. Super Tuscan Wine Bar and Kitchen. Me too.
But we know that the good thing is that we
Spitalfield.
understand the location is exactly at the
Back in
bottom
5 minutes.
of the name. This is interesting. And
Yeah, I hope it's
and
on
then
location.
very good. Now,
Replay.
we have got. Let's take a look at here. Actually, we have got 3 kinds of customers at the bottom, like friends getting together, young people who like to party, people who enjoy being in a cozy atmosphere. I sent this list to you right now on your WhatsApp to have it, because you don't have it in the book. So you need to match the best choice for these customers. You need to read it and then match. Go ahead, start reading.
Okay. The first one for number 2. Young people who like to party.
Death by Burrito, right? And young people who like to party, okay?
Yes, that's by Burrito. And the second one is good place for friends
And
getting
for sure,
together.
the third one, even if we don't read it, we know that
Yes.
people
It's
enjoy
good
eating
for
in a
people who
cozy
enjoy eating it.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Great. Now, let's go into details. This
Yeah.
time, read it with more details and tell me which one would you like to visit and why. Of course,
Could
noisy.
you repeat again? Here is
In detail,
yeah,
and tell me
excuse me.
which one
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
like to visit and why.
Okay, I should
Exactly,
read the
with details.
last one and then tell you.
If you read it and you don't need it, of
Number
course,
one
go
and
to
two,
the third.
I read. Yes. Mhm.
So, your choice.
Okay. The second
Just
one.
one. Just one.
And
Okay, well,
maybe.
interesting. Actually, most of
second one.
the other students chose the first one, Death by Burrito. I don't know why. Maybe because there is a photo. So why do you like the second one?
Because I love the atmosphere and decoration for this restaurant, and actually Mediterranean
Yeah, as is the menu.
food and Italian food. It's Italian food, but
What
Mediterranean
kind of menu is Mediterranean?
I
I
don't
have
know.
never
Decor
had
is
one.
Mediterranean.
Yes. Yeah, Tuscan dishes, lentil.
Mediterranean, I heard it, but yes, and Italian too,
Interesting.
and bruschetta
I should
and
come.
something like that. And because it's good for it's I think it's
Okay,
something
so
like cafe restaurants. You can
you can
eat
you can
cafe
also drink.
and
You mean some coffee maybe
food.
afterwards? Have some tea. Yeah, I understand. You have a good taste. I should really come to a restaurant with you. Yeah, I should join you. All right, let's make it a little bit more serious. So
Yes.
take a look at these sentences. All right. We have some linking words. Can you locate them at the top? Yeah.
Linking words.
Okay. Can you locate
at the top, the blue one.
linking words? No, actually the bold words.
With
the bold
emoji.
ones.
or with
So
bold
that,
one.
such that,
Bold.
less.
Yeah,
although.
so that,
Wow,
such
very
that,
good. So
unless,
we have some questions
although,
about them here. Actually,
why.
4 questions. Read the questions first. If you understand the questions well, try to answer them. But if you don't understand the question, ask me first, all right? Don't, Sarah, don't try to answer one question first and move to the next one. If you don't understand, okay, first ask me if you don't understand the word, okay, and then don't try to answer individually. Look at all the questions, all right? Look at them as a whole. Go on.
And
Yeah,
I tell you the
if you
answer
look at
number
all
1,
of
and
the
I tell you
okay,
together.
you can then, and you have no questions, you can start from number 1.
No, I.
Did you read all of them? Did you understand all of the questions?
Okay.
So read all of them, please, first.
I read just the number 1. Which do you? Okay, consequences.
Good question. What do you think?
Something like
we definitely know a condition, like, okay, if you study well, you will pass the test.
yeah, condition, contrast.
But what about this, for example? This car is very expensive. And like, I don't have a lot of money. What do you think is the consequence? Can I buy it?
When we compare the situation with myself,
now just answer.
or
This car is very expensive, and I don't have a lot of money. What is the consequence?
Yeah.
I can't buy it, and I don't buy it. So this is the consequence of me not having a lot of money and the car being so expensive. So now take a look at the sentences at the top, and based on all of the explanation we have, go ahead, try to answer the question. You can start from number 1. And remember, in parentheses, we say choose 2. So go on.
Choose 1, choose 2. Nice. Which linking or the contrast?
Although and while.
Although and while. And while is the contrast.
Linking word. Yeah, we call them linking
word. Connection word. Linking word, yeah.
Connect. Okay, so
in German, say connector. Yeah, and exactly we have some while in German, but not in this meaning.
So I think you don't have a lot of fun right now. Yeah. You're not having a lot of fun, right? Like the same word, another meaning, 3 languages. Okay.
Yeah, which do we use? Talk about the consequence. so that, and
Very nice.
such that.
Now, what about a condition?
Which we use to suggest a condition.
Unless.
Actually, unless.
Now, we said all of them. So, it's okay to repeat one of them for question number 4. Yeah, we said all of them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We said all of them. So, for question number 4, we need to repeat one of them as the answer. Unless. So, we're repeating.
Which one means if not?
Now,
unless.
you said it means if not. So, can you give me this sentence, the same sentence, using if not, like if negative, instead of unless? We want to take unless out of the sentence and just repeat it with if not.
It was so expensive that I wouldn't go back there unless I want to impress us.
Yeah, this is definitely repeated.
It was so expensive. Is okay. Yeah, that. That it was so expensive.
Sir, the sentence we want. Wait, listen to me. We say if not. So, which part of the sentence are we changing? The condition or the result?
I think the result.
Yeah, we want to put if in the sentence. So the part that
condition.
The condition, right? So should I change?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go back there now. All right.
No, if I didn't want to
for the
impress
let me write the rest of the sentence. It was so expensive that I wouldn't go back there. Now you go on.
If I didn't want to impress a client.
Makes sense. So by if not, this is what we meant, right? Like if and then negative sentence. It's like a formula, but if you don't understand the meaning, it's actually hard to do it. But yeah, you can remember that, okay, this is happening in the condition to make it easier for yourself. Let's try another sentence together. A cliche, my cliche actually. If I don't study well, I won't pass the test, will I? Nowadays they will actually, because they listen well in the classroom. So come on, go ahead. Give it to me using unless.
I won't pass the test unless I study well.
Pass the test unless I study well. Great job. Do you have any questions here? No? Okay. Why are you laughing?
Oh, no. I forgot that you recorded
What is it? Come on, tell me.
I don't know what to say.
It's a come on. They are
Act
teachers.
with
They are not,
emoji.
from another planet. They will understand it. It's okay. Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's nice. You said that I forgot you were recording. It's as if I am recording to send it to NASA. No, come on. It's just teachers. So, take a look at this part. Now that we are done with the meaning, let's find out more about the form, how I should use them in a sentence. Which one is followed by an adjective?
Which one is followed?
Good, okay.
So
But
that and
look at
such
question
that.
2 to find out, to be fair, actually.
Yeah.
So,
okay, the first one, so that.
can I use a noun for the? I have a question. Can I use a noun?
The second one,
after
such
so?
that.
Is it possible?
So delicious. No, we said the noun.
No, here, does it
the,
make sense? For example, can I say
linking
the food
word.
was so meal
For example,
that I
here,
didn't mind. It doesn't work like number 2. Am I right? It doesn't work.
That's a way. No.
Number 2, which one is followed by an adjective and a noun?
No, it doesn't work.
We said such that. Now here, can I use adjective only? It was such an enjoyable that.
It was such
so
an enjoyable what?
Such an
Something
enjoyable
is
meal.
missed.
That's good. Which one can we use both in the beginning and in the middle of the sentence?
Although and while.
Give it a try.
We can use
See
unless at the beginning. For example, unless what you say, unless I wanted to impress a client, I wouldn't go back there. In the meaning in Persian,
But we can always do it with
Persian,
if, right? We can put it here and
say.
there. Doesn't it work? Like in the beginning or in the
okay,
we are not talking about the Farsi version of it. Alright? Of course it won't make sense in Farsi. We are speaking about the form in English. Like you said that it has the same meaning as if not. Am I right? So with if it is possible, am I right? To put if in the beginning of the sentence or in the middle. So the pattern is telling me that it should be possible for unless
it's okay.
Trust me, it does. Trust me. Now, let's continue. Here I have another thing you need to do. I have some of the sentences, the same sentences from the top at the bottom, okay, using these bold words, 3 of them actually, at the bottom. Look and answer these 2 questions.
The service was appalling, although it's comma if we use them in the beginning in the sentence. What happens to comma if we use them in the middle of the sentence? When we use in the beginning of the sentence, we have comma.
When it goes to the
when
middle,
we didn't use it, we don't have.
Exactly, we have it, the unless sentence.
We don't have
I wouldn't go back there unless I wanted to impress a client. So because it is in the middle, we cannot use a comma. The same thing applies for although and while. Great. Now let's practice. Look at number 1 to 5, and we want to use the linking words in the parentheses to make like one complete sentence. Let's connect them.
Okay. With this
Exactly.
suggested word. Okay. Starbucks has been very successful. Now they want to open a new stores in China. So Starbucks has been so successful that now they want to open a new
Great job.
stores in China.
We want to open new store. Right.
And the restaurant has had very bad reviews. Nobody wants to go there. The restaurant has had a very bad such bad reviews that nobody wants to go there.
You're my first student who actually didn't need for the first two of them, first two sentences. You know what happens with the other one? You were the first student. Usually they go for Starbucks has been very successful.
No.
So now they want to open new stores in China. Yeah, they forget the pattern. So successful that interesting.
I
Could be because you are a teacher. Go on.
Yeah. The food was very bad. الان چشم میزنه. The food was very bad. I will only go back there again if they get a new chef. Unless. And the food was very bad.
This is repetitive.
I will only go back there if unless they get a new chef. I will only go back.
Just think about the meaning.
The meaning is not okay. I will only go back there again.
Okay, so make changes.
Unless they get a new chef. Something is
your sentence.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Negative for won't. I won't go back there again unless they get a new chef.
Doesn't work. The meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Look at it. Let's test
Doesn't work.
This is your sentence. You said I won't go back there unless they get a new chef. Give it if not.
I won't go. I won't go back there. I will go back there
now
if they
are checking. So the same sentence.
Don't get a new.
To see if it is the correct sentence. I won't go back there.
I work there if they don't get a new chef.
But you want them to get a new chef, right?
Yes, but unless unless they get a new chef is okay, I think. Because here is unless means if not. Here we
here,
have
look,
if,
they don't
not
get a new
negative.
chef. So you need to change something in your unless sentence.
Unless they don't get a new chef.
Now it works, right? So look at it here. Unless they don't get a new chef, I won't go back there. Unless they don't get a new chef, I won't go back there. Now, if you give it exactly,
Okay,
if you
here
say
is
it like
2
this,
times
then
negative. Hope I will only go back
I
there
will
unless they
only
don't
go back
get a
there.
new
If
chef.
no, look at the unless version. When it is double negative, okay, look at the meaning of it.
Unless
Then
version,
it will be, I won't go back there if they don't get a new chef. Then you can translate it to that. Now the meaning works, doesn't it?
I won't go.
Look.
I didn't understand. I
Even
will go
if
back
you
there
translate it,
again
you need
if they
double
get a new
negative.
chef.
Even if you translate it to your mother tongue language. Unless they don't get a new chef, I won't go back there. What does it mean? So translate it. If you have to translate it to your mother tongue language. So both of them are negative, right? Again, it's double negative. Does it make sense?
Yes. ولی میگه میرم دوباره برمیگردم اونجا اگر یه شف جدید بگیرن. خب اینم میشه اگر دوباره برمیگردم اونجا مگر اینکه یه شف جدید بگیرن. آها, yes.
So if you have any questions always about
But the first version, I won't go back there unless they get a new chef. دیگه بر نمیگردم اونجا مگر اینکه شف جدید بگیرم. It's okay. It's correct.
The meaning of, unless changes. Let's do it. Let's do it now with what you say. Unless they get a new chef, okay, I won't go back there. I don't even know how we can translate it into Farsi. Tell me. Well, how do you translate it?
Unless, which one?
نه
مگر اینکه یه شف جدید بگیرن اگه
بر نمیگردم. I won't go back
دوباره
there.
برمیگردم
I won't
اونجا.
go back there. This is your sentence.
خب
I
برمیگرد.
won't go back there. بر نمیگردم. اصلا بیا مگر اینکه یه شف جدید بگیرن I won't go back there. بر نمیگردم اونجا. حتی مگر اینکه بگیرن.
بر نمیگردن اونجا مگر اینکه یه شف جدید بگیرن. مگر اینکه یعنی اینکه اگه اون کارو انجام ندن. این پرزی نه مثلا اینو نمیخرم مگر اینکه مثلا یه پولی دستم بیاد.
You are changing it to Farsi and in Farsi it is different. In Farsi it's different.
Look at the example. It was so expensive that I wouldn't go back there unless I wanted to impress a silent client. Yeah, I wouldn't go back there unless here the
So what do you say? You want to say unless they get a new chef, I won't go back there. Unless they get a new chef, I won't go back there. I won't go back there if they don't.
or I will go back there unless they don't. I will only go back there again unless
I won't go back there.
they don't get a new chef.
Wait.
برمیگردم مگه اینکه شف جدید نگیرن.
When we take it back with if not, it should make sense. Because this is actually the way we check it. So let's check it again. I won't go back there if they don't get a new chef. Yeah, you're right, Sahar. You're right. Oh my God. You're right. Let me take a look. I won't go back there unless they get a new chef. I won't go back there if they don't get a new chef. Yeah, you're right. It will be double negatives. Ah, yeah. It makes sense now. So, thank you. Let's go to number 4. All right? The food was delicious. The service was poor.
Okay. Although the food was delicious, comma,
the service
was poor.
Was poor. Comma, yes, okay. Go to 5.
The restaurant had a good atmosphere. The food was disappointing.
So,
while the restaurant had a good atmosphere, the food was disappointing.
The food was disappointing. So, it makes sense to both of us now. Unless it's actually a pain right now in my neck. It doesn't seem that it is a pain in your neck, but it seems like it is a pain in my neck right now. So, let's go and prepare ourselves for not this one, but this one. So, choose a restaurant for me. All right. And let's discuss all of the things that we have here, all of the questions. Like this restaurant that you like very much, that you want to write a review about. Where is it? What is the decor like? What kind of food does it serve? So think, choose, and take some notes. All right? Remember, you are taking notes only because you want to talk about it right now. Not a writing. Go on.
Okay. And I should present it.
It's not exactly a presentation.
Present
We're going
the
to talk
restaurant and I'll
exactly.
give information to you.
What? The address?
I should check something. No, the address.
So, what are you checking?
The uh, national name for
Switzerland? Yeah,
Swiss
Switzerland.
is Swiss or Switzerland.
I
The
think it is
country
Swiss.
is Switzerland
But let me
and
check. Yeah, wait.
the Swiss
Switzerland. Nationality. Swiss, yeah. I said it's Swiss.
hmm.
You know, the
Okay.
people are the Swiss or Swiss people. But it's interesting that the language is German. I didn't know that.
Yes, of course. Yeah, with very, very, very,
Oh.
very bad
So,
accent.
go on. Tell me.
Yeah. Okay.
You're so excited.
Dress. Yes.
Okay,
It's
so go
my
on.
favorite restaurant in Tehran. The
Okay.
restaurant and the name of the restaurant is Swiss Restaurant, and it's located in
Very nice.
city center
Accessible. I like that.
around Ferdowsi Square. Yes, and you can go there with uh, every public transportation
Okay.
and
Interesting. How is
anything
it?
that you want. And they have two opening hours. One of them for lunch and one of them for dinner. And between 3 to 7 o'clock, they closed. They are closed.
Yeah, they are
They
closed.
close. They are closed. Yeah, and their decor is very
Is it
beautiful.
modern or-
And I don't know. It's with I don't know it's modern or not, but it's something they mixing traditional
Interesting.
with wood.
So wooden.
Yes,
It means
it's
that it is
very
brownish,
interesting. They have
right? Like everything is
wood
brownish.
chair. Yes, brownish. Yes, and they served their food in a steel plate, in plate, and it's very interesting. Uh, and
That's why you like it.
it's not very noisy, and it's yes, and it's very good for romantic dates
Interesting.
or
Now, Sarah,
surprising
before
someone
we
and something
actually
like
finish
that.
this conversation, write me some sentences about this restaurant, okay, using the linking words that we have. Can you? Maybe like 2, 3 sentences about the restaurant. Go on. Write them for me.
Okay, write or tell you
You can send
and
here
send you in WhatsApp.
like 2, 3 sentences.
After the
You're
class, I
thinking,
should
okay,
write it or
just
now?
think about the linking words and write two,
Okay.
3 sentences
Okay.
using them. So,
Hey, I try to
you cannot find
try
any.
to
Am I
write a
right?
contract.
It's
Contract
okay. If you cannot find,
sentence.
don't. Give me
Yes.
the other ones that you have.
Yeah.
You can give me the consequences.
For I don't know, the size of food, for example, is little,
portion.
it's more, it's, we say huge or
Yeah, the portion size.
huge is
The portion.
the portion.
Size is big or small. No, no.
The portion size is
Big portion,
a
small
lot
portion.
or big.
So
Okay.
you can just read them to me. You can just read the sentences to me.
What? Okay, yes, yes, yes. And the entrecote for this restaurant is so delicious that I didn't care about the price.
Yeah. You
I
don't
didn't
go to the
care
restaurant
about the
anymore?
price. How much is that? No, 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 no. I mean, it was
Or
so
you're talking
delicious.
about the fact.
Yes, yes, yes. No, I talk about
But it's
past that
okay.
I
All right.
tried
So
it.
I mean, my question is, if it is a
Okay,
fact
I tell
for
it
you,
in present.
why would you make it past? Like
because I
but
tried
now you are talking about
the
one you
past
like the
and I said,
Am I right?
what?
Oh.
Okay, I change it. And the entrecote steak for this restaurant is
Because
so
it's actually
delicious
not,
that I don't care about the
a
price.
one-time experience for you. Am I right? I mean, you go to this place regularly, right?
Yes.
I mean,
Last
if there
time
if
is
there wasn't
before pandemic.
You're
Yeah.
right. Okay, so go on.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. 100%. And it is it is a it is such a big. I talk about entrecote. It is a
Portion. Yeah, let me write
portion big food.
You can also say huge.
Such a portion,
You can also say
big.
huge. If it is so big.
I can say. It is a. Yes, it's big. It is it is such a portion big food
Portion big.
that I
noun.
portion
No,
portion is
yeah,
big
portion is what you
means
say.
big.
Okay. The amount
Portion
of
is
food.
now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh?
It is such a big portion food. Big portion food that I suggest it for
Wow.
more than 2 people. Not
We should definitely go to
yeah,
this
2 or
restaurant
3
together.
people is enough.
All right. That's enough. That's enough. Thank you very much. Remember,
Yes.
Sahar, that's for
Yes.
next session you are writing a full review. And
welcome.
of course, in the full review, restaurant review, we want to see as many of those